So we want to talk a little bit about long COVID. This is probably another one of those things that's going to get knocked off most of the internet. So it'll be on X. So if you guys want to find the controversial stuff, the stuff that's probably going to get pushed off everything else, make sure you follow me on X or Twitter. Dr. Chalmers 1. The thing with long COVID is that it's basically just a continual form of COVID. Remember, COVID is not a respiratory issue, it's a vascular issue. So it ends up activating what's called an ACE2 receptor site, which causes the blood vessels to squeeze down, decreasing the amount of blood they can carry, thus oxygen they can carry to the cell and waste they can carry away from it. Your lymph will pick up some of that waste, but you're going to have issues with nutrient delivery as well. We see this specifically in the RAS system, but it's in other places. The RAS system is a renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. So you're looking at heart, brain, lung, kidney. You're going to have some adrenal issue in there as well. So that's the problem. So what we end up seeing is people have low energy. They have confusion. They end up having higher issues of fatigue and joint pain, and they just don't have the energy to work out. When they work out, they get lightheaded, they get dizzy, their heart starts beating real fast, things like that. So your body's just trying to compensate in any way it can to get that oxygen to the tissue. So that's where we're really seeing it. Hyperbaric works great for these guys, but what we've been using is nanokinase to increase blood flow, NAC, N-acetylcysteine. That increases what's called interstitial glutathione, which is a very powerful way of the cells detoxing. It's an antioxidant. As far as detoxification and cleaning, glutathione is a big player. So you really want to get that up. The big player that we're using is quinine still. So we're using a colloidal quinine that helps knock the spike protein off the ACE receptor site. There's lots of research on that. Just Google COVID-19 quinine sulfate ACE2, that's ACEII, and that should bring up some of the research on it. That's really the biggest player. Once you get everything kind of moving, that helps it out. Now, I will always go back through and make sure that their testosterone levels are where they're supposed to be so that their body can actually heal. I like to move a lot of these guys into a ketotic state, fat oxidizing state, into ketosis. That helps with any diabetic issues they have. Ketosis obviously fixes diabetes instantly. And then it'll help produce more ATP. ATP is actually the energy unit your body uses. We don't use calories. We use ATP. We all learned this in high school. But that ATP will help generate the energy for your body to heal, regenerate, and grow once it gets the oxygen back in. There's a whole host of things that we'll use for antioxidant function as well. So remember, everyone is now in a boat where we're going to start seeing a lot higher instances of cancer, heart attack, stroke, arterial plaquing. We're going to see a lot more neurodegenerative diseases like MS, dementia, Alzheimer's, memory and cognition issues, lots and lots of energy issues. So, and this is all to be expected when you look at what we're looking at with hypoxia. So I've been talking about this for a while. People are very angry about the fact that I'm talking about long COVID. They're very angry that I'm saying that the vaccine is contributing greatly to this, but it is. So when you start looking at the amount of cancer that's come off of people who've been vaccinated, when you start looking at the amount of chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, joint pain, confusion, that type of stuff, we're seeing lots more of that. I think you're going to start seeing a giant amount more damage from arteriosclerosis. So the reason for that is when you have low oxygen environments, you end up with more free radicals. Free radicals or reactive oxidative stress is actually what causes LDL cholesterol to become oxidized. LDL cholesterol in and of itself is not bad for you. It's actually the primary fuel source for your heart. So LDL cholesterol and VLDL cholesterol is very, very, very good for your heart. You want the LDL levels up. You want that. You want to be able to feed your heart, especially when you're in a hypoxic state, because you need as much ATP as possible for your heart and for your brain. So ketosis is going to be the best option for a lot of people, not for everybody, but for a lot of people. And so walking into that properly is important. But getting that quinine in daily is going to be really important. The spike proteins don't really break down. Remember, it's not a virus, it's a bioweapon. It was made in a lab specifically to do what it's doing right now. The gain of function research that Fauci and this country paid for specifically to make it this dangerous and this deadly was the whole point and the whole purpose of what they were doing, which is in the research. Rand Paul kind of showed a lot of that stuff out. So that's going to be one of the big pieces. This is here for a while. It's going to be around a long time. When we start looking at the damage it's causing from hypoxia, we're going to see issues with increased inflammatory problems. So we're going to have to lean a little harder on the liver and on the kidneys. Kidneys are a big player for blood pressure. Allicin, or bear garlic, is actually just garlic. It's not BA, not like the raw, grog, claws, and fangs bear, like just cleaned up BARE garlic. So allicin's the one we're using for a lot of the biofilm breaking and that type of thing. That has big impacts on blood pressure as well. The reason why blood pressure is going to be a bigger player is because as the blood vessels, the pipes that carry the blood, squeeze down, we're going to have increased blood pressure issues, and that's going to rip off plaque off the arteries. That's going to cause strokes. It's going to cause all sorts of other damage issues, and that will increase plaquing issues. So that's kind of where it all goes. If you guys are looking for really good antioxidants, it depends on. So here's the other problem. Like when you have your free radicals, the chemicals that are actually damaging you, you can't just take an antioxidant and think that any antioxidant knocks out all free radicals. That's not how it works. So it depends upon the system you're running, whether you're running a glucose-fed system or whether you're running a fat oxidizing state. This really kind of depends on which antioxidant group you need to pull from. So just work with a metabolic specialist, someone who actually knows what's going on. There's more and more of us out there. A lot of the functional medicine docs are getting there. So that's going to be a big player for a lot of guys. But the biggest issue that we got to make sure that we're working on is cleaning up the actual system, the actual the constriction of the blood vessels. So again, testosterone is going to be a big player for you so that you can heal, regenerate, repair. I like using growth hormone as well, specifically from peptides. I don't like using exogenous growth hormone. I like to have you make your own because it's still ruled by somatostatin, so you can't really take too much. That's a big peptide play. So if you guys are into peptides, that's a great one. Samorelin is fantastic for this. Ipamorelin is great. Tesamorelin works. Just make sure that you guys are regulating that when you're taking it, how you're taking it. Again, work with metabolic specialists and the way we get that where it needs to be. But the other thing we got to do is clean up the gut. So we see lots and lots of parasitic issues from obviously stress-related problems. So as you get stressed out, you don't produce hydrochloric acid, you lose the hydrochloric acid function, and then you get infected with parasites. So we got to clean the parasites out, break the biofilms down, reset the gut, clean the yeast out, restore the probiotic functions so our bodies can, generate all that stuff, increase the methylated B vitamins. So basically just bring your body back to the way it was designed to function. Those are kind of how a lot of this goes. But again, the quinine piece is the big one. I have not found, I've tested probably 24 different quinine pills that we brought in from online. None of them worked. The colloidal quinine we're using works. If you guys can get a hold of quinine sulfate, which is the medical pill version, that works really well. That's what the research was done on. And so it works really, really well. If all you can get is hydroxychloroquine, HCQ, I mean, it's better than nothing. But even in the research, it only shows 50% effectiveness. So you want to get a little bit straight to the quinine to really kind of help this. But then bring up your methylated B vitamins, and the NAC is going to be a big player. NMN will help if you guys have NMN. Obviously, dosage path plays, the amount you're taking plays a role. But the big ones can be, the big three that we use. We clean up everything else, but the big three we use are the NAC, the N-acetylcysteine, nanokinase, and the quinine. So it depends on the person and how much we're taking. So that's kind of how that goes. You're not going to hurt yourself with NAC or with nanokinase or things like that. Don't take absurd amounts, but the ones that we have on the Pillars of Wellness website, I take 6 of the natokinases a day, 2-3 times a day. I take 2-3 times a day of the NAC, and then I'll take just the quinine's not on there. You have to get that from the office, but we'll take about 1/3 of a shot glass twice a day. It has a 19-hour half-life, so make sure that you're where you need to be on that one. Quinine got a bad name because they started saying that it causes heart issues and it causes blood clots and things like that. It doesn't cause those issues. What actually ends up happening is they gave that to a large population of people who had vasospasms. So the muscles and the blood vessels got really tight and it caused pain. And so they gave them quinine, and it really helped that vasospasm. And that vasospasm, since they're naturally producing those vasospasms, they're naturally going to produce more issues with clots. And a lot of these guys were diabetic, and the medical industry wouldn't fix their diabetes because it's more profitable to treat it than it is to fix it. And so they had diabetic issues coupled with vasospasm issues, and that's what caused the clots, not the quinine. The quinine was actually helping quite a bit. So if you've got that type of stuff, looking at the quinine, looking at that type of stuff, again, don't just take stuff willy-nilly. Work with somebody who knows what they're doing. But those are the chief long-acting issues for long COVID. So if you guys have that, obviously hyperbaric's going to be a good player as well. But check those out. You can grab them from the Pillars of Wellness website on the store. If you guys have any other questions, hit us up, questions@chalmerswellness.com, and we'll be able to help you out. Thanks for your time.